Start the meeting.
Uh, let's start.
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute.
आज तो आपने इतना हमको तोहफा दिया मैं धन्य हो गया मिला दिए इतना सज्जन आदमी के हंसता हुआ चेहरा
जब तक है सर आपका सानिध्य मिले।
अरे सर आपका सानिध्य मिले
Good evening, everyone. I am Deepak Kumar Vishwakarma, STMC Kalasaraya Saraswati Vidya Mandir, and today we organize the in-house training. So I would like to call Mr. Vipin Kumar DA sir. Please introduce our today resource person. Vipin sir.
Okay, sir. Good evening to everyone and most welcome our respected principal sir and all the teachers and ma'ams in today's CBSE in-house training. Our topic is competency-based education, and competency-based education means how to develop skill in the students till their education period. Since today the curriculum is fixed and we have to complete their syllabus according to the given time period. So it is very difficult and challengeful task to develop skill among the students in the certain or given time period. But if we determined and we have certain skills or we have certain methods to develop the students' skills, then we can perform better in the way of teaching learning process. Our resource person is Sanjay ji, and Sanjay ji will explain how in this present day or modern day the competency-based education is applicable in school life. Sanjay ji, you are requested to explain about it.
Thank you, Mr. Bipin Dey sir, for introducing me. At first, I just want to know that I am audible to all or not.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I wish you all an energetic good evening to all of you, as without energy, nothing is possible. So first, all the participants get energized to the fruitful session, which is based on the topic competency-based education. Before starting the session, I would like to thank our honorable principal, Mr. Sarmendra Kumar Sahuji, who allows us to conduct such type of seminar or webinars, using which every teacher gets benefited. After that, I would like to thank our school coordinator, or you can say that STMC, Mr. Deepak Kumar Vishwakarma ji, who given a chance to deliver my views on a topic which is fixed by him. After that, I also would like to thank our technical teams, Mr. Neeraj Kumar Singh and Mrs. Soni Kumari ji, for their cooperation on creating Google Form for attendance and also for certification of the participants. And at last, I also want to give thanks to all the participants who participated in this online session, because without you, this type of session is not fruitful. So Many thanks to all of you for joining this session. Now, I'll present my screen. So just wait for a minute. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, visible. You can on your camera.
Okay.
Now you are visible.
Now,
Your PPT is also visible.
so as you've seen on the screen that my topic is competency-based education. First of all, we will understand what is competency, and then after we will understand what is competency-based education. So when we end this topic, then by the end of this topic, you will be able to describe the concept of competency-based education, or in short, we can say that CBE. What is the concept of competency-based education? And after that, you will also understand the need of competency-based education in the 21st century. And at last, you can also differentiate between the traditional system of education and the competency-based education system. So we will try to understand what is competency and what is competency-based education. Competency-based learning or education is skills connected to critical and creative thinking, problem solving, and collaboration and communication are core to successful living in the 21st century. Competency is a set of skills, abilities, knowledge that helps an individual perform a given task in a real life. That means competency is a combination of skills, abilities, and knowledge, which constitute competency. And by developing these three skills, abilities, and knowledge, an individual, that means a person, can solve or perform a given task in real life situation. So every learning should go into the imbibing of skills that will help the individual performing tasks or take actions to lead a productive and joyful life. When a person has this type of qualities, that means he is a skilled person and he is also some abilities, and also he is a knowledgeable person, then any type of problem that he faced in his real life can easily overcome that type of problems. The task could be as simple as going to buy groceries or as complex as flying a plane. So the tasks may be two types, a simple task and also a complex task. The simple task which is mentioned here is when we go out to buy groceries is a simple task. And if you want to fly a plane, so such type of task is considered as a complex task. So tasks may be simple or complex. Each of such tasks require a set of skills. So the tasks may be simple or complex, but you have required some sets of skills, abilities, and knowledge, and even attitudes to be able to perform the task at hand effectively and efficiently. If you have such type of set of skills, abilities, and knowledge, then you can do a simple task and also a complex task. For buying groceries, the learner should be able to navigate the route to the grocery. That means you have to know the route where the shop is located. So first of all, you have to know the route, and after that, prepare the list of purchases to be made. What type of things you want to buy? At first, you have to prepare a list of them, and after that, estimate the expenditure. That means what will be the expenditure which you want to buy, and again locate the items in the store and pay the bills. Check that the total mentioned in the bill is correct or not. The list matches the actual purchase, etc. So these are the things which we have to think before going to the shop whenever we want to buy something from a grocery shop. If a person is not able to do such type of things, then he can't do a task like this. And several competencies are required here to succeed. That means if you want to do this task, then several competencies are required. And all these competencies or skill sets should also be acquired in the process of learning or schooling. Only then the school education would be considered effective and fruitful. So these type of sets of skills should also be acquired in the process of learning. That means then when the students are in the schools, then they have to develop such type of sets of skills, so he will be successful in the real life situation problem. Education would be considered effective and fruitful. Competency based learning or education is an outcome based approach to education to ensure proficiency in learning by the students through demonstration of the knowledge, skills, values, and attitude. So this type of education is mainly based on demonstration. Whenever a person demonstrates everything that he learned in his life, if he is able to demonstrate everything professionally in a good manner, then the purpose of this type of education is said to be successful. So this type of education ensures proficiency in learning by students through demonstration of the knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes required for dealing with the real life situation at the age and the grade appropriate level. Now, let's begin the topic competency-based education. In this topic, we will elaborating on the 6 components of CBE and the impact of CBE on learning. At first, we have to understand what is competency. Then after, we will understand what is competency-based education. Competency can be defined as an individual's capability of performing a task successfully in professional, educational, and other life contexts by using knowledge, skills, abilities. We discuss these 3 things: knowledge, skills, and abilities, because these 3 things constitute competencies in anyone. First, we discuss knowledge. So knowledge is conceptual and theoretical understanding only, and it is a visible characteristic that can be measured. If a person is knowledgeable, then you can see it by his body language, by his behavior like this. So this is a visible characteristics. If a person is knowledgeable, then you can simply judge him that he is knowledgeable or not. And it can be developed through a good competency-based education. So knowledge can be developed by good competency-based education. After that, we will discuss what is the skill. It is a measurable and observable proficiency. It is also a visible characteristic which is learned through training or experience. Skill is developed in anyone by a proper training, or you can say also that by experience that he gained in his life in any situation. Then a skill is developed in anyone, and it is also a visible characteristic that can be seen by anyone that he is a skilled person or not. That means he is doing his work skillfully or not. It is a visible characteristic, and it can be developed through competency-based education. And the last thing is abilities, a vast underlying capacity or talent. It is essential to learn and apply knowledge and skills. And it is not a visible characteristic, it is a hidden characteristic. You can't judge abilities or talent of any person by just watching him. It is a hidden characteristic, and it is developed without formal instruction. That means a talent can be gained by anyone without any training or proper direction. It is a hidden or characteristic that can be developed without a formal instruction. So these are the three things that constitute competency in anyone. Now we will try to understand what is competency-based education, or 5-point working definition of CBE. In the year 2011, a group of 100 experts and educators came together for the first time and agreed upon a 5-point working definition of CBE. According to them, CBE, which is also known as the mastery or proficiency-based education, is the high-quality education system, and in which students are engaged and motivated by the educators to advance upon demonstrated mastery. That means in this type of education, when a person is able to demonstrate his learned thing like a master, so we can say that this system is demonstrated mastery. Measurable, which is measurable, transferable, and well-defined competencies and learning outcomes are articulated to empower students. If a person develops a skill that can be transformed to others by guiding them, so it is a measurable, transferable, and well-defined competencies and learning outcomes are articulated to empower students. And the assessment in this type of education, or we can say that assessment of competencies and content or concept or knowledge is meaningful and a positive learning experience for the students. Students receive timely differentiated support based on their individual learning needs. That means in this type of education, if a student has a problem, then he is personally guided by the educators. You have to take care all type of a student who are coming to the school, because every student has not same type of problem, because they are coming from different type of society and different type of families. So they should have different type of complexion or a problem, and in this system you have to deal with we can't deal with in the same way. So we have to take time, we have to give time to the students in a different way. Outcomes are emphasized. Competencies that include application, analysis, and evaluation of competencies and content, and creation of knowledge, along with the development of important skill and the disposition. Or you can say that in other words, competency-based education creates a system of continuous improvement. That means a student can improve continuously in this type of education, and you have to also keep a record that he is improving or not. So this type of system is a continuous improvement that foster deeper learning of students at their own pace. So we can say that in this type of education, students gets deeper learning, because until they perform the given tasks like a master, then his education can't be supposed to be completed. Whenever he is able to he is able to perform the task like a master, then we think that he is completed his work, and also he will complete his task at their own pace. That means there is no any comparison between the students, that he has completed the task but not me. Such type of thing is not happen in this type of education, because the students can complete his task at their own pace. Next thing is, as we discussed earlier, that there is a differentiated support based on individual learning needs. Individual learning needs, that means every student has its own problem, so we have to support them individually, not in a group way. And the application of competency and creation of knowledge, skills, and disposition is the last 5-point working definition of CBE. The competencies that the student gain is able to apply the knowledge or not. You have to think over it also. We have to also create a knowledge in his, and also skills. So these are the 5 working definition of CBE. Now, the 6 components of competency-based education is, in this type of education system, there is a clearly defined learning outcomes. That means the outcomes which is already defined, and there is a flexibility of time frame. It gives flexibility time frame to a student to achieve learning outcomes at their own pace. As we discussed earlier, that there is no any time boundation in this type of education system. A students can finish his work according to their own pace. So there is a flexibility of time frame in this type of education system. And as we know that different types of students are coming, so we can't use the same pedagogy to all the students. We have to use multiple type of pedagogies to handle each type of students that are coming to our schools. And we have to also do different types of activities which engage all the students, not a particular group of students. There should be a different type of activities in which every type of a student, that means interest of every student is also different. So activities should be so there will be variety of engaging activities, so that every student gets engaged and they enjoy their school life. And also the test or the assessment should be criterion reference testing, and this is the type of testing that we using presently in our school. And also we have to think that the outcomes is achieved or not when we giving competency based education to the students. So this can be only measured by their demonstration, that the given task demonstrated by the student is that the student demonstrate his skillfully or not. We have to see it. When the student demonstrate all the things in a fair way, in a professional way, then we can say that he has completed his task. So these are the 6 components of competency-based education. Now we will understand the impact of competency-based education on learning. What is the impact of competency-based education on learning? You can see that a CBE clearly communicates expectation to the students, thus they on and participated in learning process. It enhances teacher-learner interaction. That means a student and learner both interacted to each other in this type of education. It uses creative and learner-centric methods. As you see here, it uses learner-centric methods. That means how the learners learn, you have to create such type of methods. So this focuses on learner-centric methods and techniques to enhance a student's learning. That means all the method and techniques that we have to use should be learner-based, not teacher-based. It offers flexibility to adapt a variety of strategies based on different types of learning. As we discussed earlier, that the interest and the knowledge and the abilities and the capabilities of every student is different. So different type of strategies also be used for a fruitful learning. It assesses a student on that areas only that they understand, prefer, and are interested. So we have to also think over the interest or the area in which the student wants to do better. And it focuses on a quality of learning rather than volume. So this type of education focuses on what? Quality of learning rather than volume. So these are the impact of competency-based education on learning. Now, if we want to apply such type of education system, then is it our school ready for applying such type of education? That means what in what stage your school is, you can think by watching the screen. Is your school ready for that or not? School readiness for CBE. If your school trying to understand what is CBE, then it is the stage 1. And if your school discussing to consider about a CBE, then you are in a stage 2. And if your school planning to start CBE, then you are in the stage 3. And presently, if your school providing few grades and a few subjects on the basis of competency-based education, then you are in the stage number 4. And if competency-based education is presently providing in all the grades and subjects, then you are in the stage number 5. So these are the stages according to your school. Now, till now, we have studied about. We summarize the things that we have studied, that we have learned till now. What is a competency? What is a competency-based education? And the 6 components of competency-based education and impact of competency-based education on learning and the readiness of a school for a competency-based education. Now, the next thing is how CBE is different from traditional system of education. As when you study anything which is similar to the thing which we have already learned, then we always try to compare these two things, that the first was is better or the present is better. So we always try to differentiate between these two things. So now we will also understand what is the difference between the traditional system that we use presently and what things is happening in CBE system. So let's start. In this topic, we will understand comparison between traditional education system and the competency-based education system. So let's start. We will differentiate it on the basis of outcomes, mindset, culture, support system, pedagogy, assessment, proficiency standards, and the advancement. Let's understand one by one. You can see that here is a table which show the difference between the two education system, that is the traditional education system and the CBE system. First, we compare it on the parameter outcomes. What will be the outcomes in these two types of education system? First, traditional system focuses on memorization and the understanding of the academic content only. But in the CBE system, it focuses on demonstration of learned knowledge and skill. So this is the first difference between the two education systems that we can see here. And what is the mindset in both the system? So in traditional system, the mindset is fixed, but in the CBE system, there is a mindset, there is a growth mindset. That means the student improving or not, you have to think over it. And then third thing is the culture. So in traditional system, there is a culture of compliance, and in the CBE system, there is a culture of empowerment of students. And the fourth thing is a support system. In traditional education system, need-based support to some student. That means we only support a few group of student, or only we can say that the few student. But in CB system, as we discussed earlier, that we have to support according to their needs. That means you have to keep a record on every student, that the need of the every student is different. So we have to support them individually, not in a group. So there is the support system, the difference in the support system you can see here. And the next thing is the pedagogy. In the traditional system, single curriculum for the all students. That means those all the students who are coming to the school, they have to follow the single curriculum. There is no any difference between curriculum of every student. But in the CB system, educational learning pathway for each student. That means the pathway of every student is different. And the assessment system in both the education system is one size fits all approach, but in CB system, personalized learning approach is applied. And the next parameter is proficiency standard. In traditional education system, different meaning for different people for the proficiency standard. But in CB system, consistent meaning for everyone. That means there is no different meaning. And the last thing is the advancement. That means you can also say that it is the progress report. If a student spend 1 year in his class, then we have to promote them to the next class according to the time spent by him. We do not judge the ability of the student, that he is able to the all the things that he has to do in his class or not. We only just think that he spent 1 year in this class, so we have to promote to the next class without the demonstration of the knowledge he gained in 1 year. But in CB system, it is learning based. If the person has learned all the things, then we will promote to the next class. So these are the things in which we can differentiate or we can distinguish these two type of system. We will discuss the thing that why competency based education is needed, why we have to learn about competency based education. So we will discuss now why competency based education. And also we will discuss what are the benefits of competency based education for the students and also teachers. Let's discuss it. Why competency based education? At first we discuss about a traditional education system, then CB system. In traditional education system, it does not incorporate development of all the students in an equitable manner. That means development of all the students is not equal. Someone is doing better, but someone is not doing well. So they do not do the things in equitable manner in this type of education. And second thing, it promotes a student to the next grade before they have mastered each stage of learning, as we have discussed this thing earlier. In this type of education, we have to promote them to the next grade without watching that he is demonstrate his learning level perfectly or not. And the third thing is, does not instill competencies which are needed in the real world. as we know that whenever a students learn anything, then they have to apply all the things in the real life situation. If they can't face the real life situation or problem, then the outcome or learning that he learned in his school time or college time has no any meaning if he is not able to overcome such type of problem that he faced in his real life situation. Now, traditional education system is a generalized system which limits the holistic development. That means it does not support the holistic development. It only limits the holistic development of students' ability and does not prepare them for career and life roles. As we can see that the present situation, there were lots of person who are educated, who has done MSc, PhD like this. But if you talk to them, then you can realize that he just finished his education and he has no any skill ability so that he can survive in this type of era. So this system does not support the development of a student ability and does not prepare them for the career and life roles. अब है why competency-based education? So the reasons that we seen earlier, reasons schools are turning to the competency-based teaching and learning. First one is it is a lifelong learning, and it is empowered and inclusive culture of learning. Timely and differentiated instruction and support is given in this type of education, and the pedagogical principle aligned to meet needs and goals of the students, and transparency with clear and explicit expectation. Let's deal it one by one. Lifelong learning. That means in CB system that we learned is a lifelong learning. It supports lifelong learning by focusing on both academic knowledge as well as transferable skills that can be transformed. It ensures that the students become problem solvers, not problem creators, independent learners, and successful in new context. It focuses on a student agency, which means that the students are free to choose their learning pace and act as independent. As we have discussed earlier, that the student in this type of education system complete his work according to their own pace. So, our students are free to choose their learning pace and act as independent and self-regulating learners. They regulate himself according to their own pace. Now the second thing, empowered and the inclusive culture of learning. So in CBE, it aims to foster growth mindset in a student so that they take ownership of their learning. And educators are also empowered and given flexibility to make decisions in the best interest of students. Here all the things or decisions are taken according to the interest of a student and according to the growth of the students. And the last thing is equity lies at the heart of competency education to ensure that all the students grow and benefit, not just some. You can see that all the students grow and gets benefited, not just some. The third thing is timely and differentiated instruction and support. You can also learn that sorry, you have also learned it earlier. Support in CBE is not a reactive measure which is given when a student fails. So if a student fails in doing his work or tasks, then you have to support them. Support is offered proactively throughout the learning. Remedial learning opportunities are available in this type of system. Formative assessment are available in this type of education, and effective feedback are also recorded in this type of education system. Fourth thing is pedagogical principle aligned to meet the needs and goals of the students. In this, teaching is not based on a student age and grade, as it is based on the mastery level. So there is no any foundation on age and grade. Teaching begins with meeting a students where they are. That means if a student has stuck in some state, then they have to start from that state. Learning tasks are designed based on a student's academic foundations. And the last one is support is given based on a student's social, emotional, and cognitive development. Why? Now the next 5 topic is transparency with clear and explicit expectation. Our students know exactly what is to be learned, the level of performance they need to demonstrate for mastery, and how they are progressive throughout a course. Second thing is, our students feel motivated and enthusiastic when learning targets are clear to them. Because if your goal is clear, if your target is clear, then everyone gets enthusiastic. So a student feel motivated and enthusiastic when learning targets are clear to them. Our students feel empowered when they have a say in how they learn and demonstrate proficiency. Now we will discuss about the benefits of competency-based education. So these are the benefits. First one is increases a student's competence, and second one is a student achieve mastery outcomes. Also, the third thing is focuses on learner proficiency. Fourth one is timely support and feedback to the build knowledge and the skills. Learning support based on a student needs and interest. Transparent and authentic grading system is available in this type of education system. So these are the benefits of CBE. Now we summarize for why competency-based education is needed. First one is CBE supports lifelong learning by focusing on academic knowledge and transferable skills. Second, that we have learned that it creates cultures that emphasize on growth, inclusion, and empowerment of students. Third thing that we have learned that it offers instruction and support to the student at the right time and in the right manner. Pedagogical principles are aligned to meet actual learning needs and the goals of the students. And the last one is it values transparency with clear and explicit expectation from the teacher and the students. Now we will discuss assessment in this type of education system. Criteria reference assessment that measure the attainment of the learning outcomes are essential feature of CBE. Which type of assessment is done in CBE system that we discussed here? It involves objective as well as performance assessment. Objective assessment have predetermined correct responses items like MCQ, oral responses to questions, and the short answer written responses based on what the student know and know how to do. In performance assessment, focus remains on what learners can do with their knowledge involving assessment of critical thinking, synthesis, and affective and the psychomotor skill. Reporting of assessment result is done on the basis of rubrics, and the student must be able to demonstrate the required level of competency in order to progress to the higher grades. So, the today's session on the topic of competency-based education is completed now. I think that I try to make you understand that we know we try to bestow in front of you. If there is any query about this topic, that means about CBE system, then you may ask.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm here on the screen, not to ask any question whatsoever. I simply want to congratulate you and boost you. And I have simply to say, we have some of the very promising teachers, young teachers in our school. And I suppose the school is in safe hands. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Matoji. Thank you very much from the core of my heart. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have taken very well session. And Vipin, sir, please
Yes,
conclude
sir.
this session.
Our today's session is very splendid session, and Sanjay ji actually explained the competency-based education in very well manner, so that we are able to create competencies in our students, and we are very skillful, feeling skillful and empowered by your session to create students or future students. So very thankful to Sanjay ji, and thankful to principal sir and the technical team, and all those who participate in today's session of competency-based education.
Thank you,
Thank
Vipin, sir. Now, everyone, I'm requesting you to please mark your attendance. It will be sent on your WhatsApp group. Okay. Now, all participants, you can now leave your training session.
हम तो बनाए थे 6 बजे बनाए थे अभी मतलब खाए मीटिंग करते करते खा